gosh, since the last time I saw you on the show, one, we were in LA, and two, you've had a son. Yeah,
yes.
He's 2?
He's 2 now, Malcolm, yeah.
Oh my gosh, 2 is so
that's
cute.
Him. He is.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh,
such a fun
him.
age.
He is so fun right now. He is so communicative. He talks nonstop. He is a joy all of the time, except for, well, by the way, it's still a joy. I find it hilarious. But 15 minutes before nap or 15 minutes before bed, something changes when they hit 2 years old. And it's this yes-no phase, you know, it's like, yes, no, he's like, you want to take a nap? And I'm like, okay, no, you don't want to take a nap. I'm like, okay. He's like, you want a snack? And you go get his, no, you don't want a snack. I'm like, this is insane. He goes, you want to have the rock? I'm like, okay. He's like, you don't want the rock. It's like, it is so crazy that I just laugh nonstop. I think it's the funniest thing. It's like being in the craziest relationship you've ever been in. It really is the most fun, though, right?
I mean, it is the most fun, but it is the most challenging.
Yeah.
So wait, you recently posted this video.
I want you to put that meatball in the fridge for later, and then go bring me watermelon and salt.
Okay, the automatic salt thing is broken, so I'll bring you.
I have salt next to my bed.
Okay.
First of all, this conversation is amazing. You seem like stoners. It's amazing. But I know you're just sitting. Why is salt next to your bed?
Because I like salt.
But like next to your bed?
Well, during
like maybe water.
I know. There is not water there, but there should be. That's a good point.
Yeah.
No, so
I do like watermelon and salt though.
Yes.
And cantaloupe.
Oh,
Cantaloupe with
I know, and I put on apples too.
Yeah.
It's so. Does anybody else here do that?
Yeah.
Oh, she just looked at me, just was like, no.
No. Just judgment.
No.
Just judgment.
So I guess that I've only realized it since being in a relationship with John that I guess I do a lot of really strange things because he's constantly like videoing from here, and he goes to the 0.5 now, so I don't even think that he's recording because once you go to 0.5, your phone can kind of be angled down, and then you still get the whole thing.
Yep. Tricky.
So I was in recovery then from some surgeries, and so then I just was sitting there, and I wanted him to, you know, put the meatball in the fridge, and I wanted some watermelon with salt. And we have those automatic salt shakers where you push the button and it just goes zzz, you know, those grinders.
No.
You don't know that? You guys know those,
I have to work for my salt.
No, what?
I have to go boop.
I'm going to send you. No. You just push a button and it goes, and then it just makes all the, I didn't have to do the sound effect.
Your house is like the Jetsons, okay?
Just my salt shaker. And my toilets. I have the Toto toilet.
You know what? I'm not above it. It's a beautiful toilet.
Do you have one?
Well, here's the thing. Our last show is in LA, and Steve Harvey had my dressing room before me, and he had a fancy-ass toilet, girl.
Yeah.
And I love him just for that toilet.
Yeah,
I had never known toilets like that. Just a normal porcelain throne is all I've ever known, and it's cold.
No.
And now I know there are heated ones. They wash you if you need so done.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I'd never seen that kind of toilet.
Yeah, I know. I said this to somebody just the other day, and they go, but they're so expensive. And yes, they are expensive. And I go, but you sit on it all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, not all day long.
It's like a bed. Well, you might have IBS. Who knows? Like, you might be there a lot.
But we're on it every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes people spend, you know, more on like, you know, like all their clothes and their shoes. And like, and you wear those like once.
Or like a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not what you guys wanted us to talk about either.
No. You know what? We can talk about whatever we want. My name's on the sign. We can do whatever we want. Well, before the break, we were talking about her now 2-year-old son, and shortly after giving birth and dealing with postpartum anxiety, Olivia was diagnosed with breast cancer. But before we even get to breast cancer, like I had heard of postpartum depression, but I'd never heard of postpartum anxiety.
I had heard about postpartum depression and I was prepared for it, but postpartum anxiety, something I'd never heard about, and it hit me like the entire ocean was on top of me. It was
the weight of it.
It was unbelievably difficult. It was a month after I had the baby, and all of a sudden at 4 a.m. my eyes just pop open and I start going, and then my chest is tight and it stays tight all day long.
Yeah.
And then for a whole year, every day at 4 a.m. my eyes would pop open and I would be gasping for air, and then my chest would stay tight all day long. And it was just this constant anxiety, and there were no real thoughts, but it was just constant, just like a panic. If you're holding your breath underwater and you can't come up for air, imagine what that feels like. That's what I felt like every single day. You know, I think I only learned about this later, but you know, I had a really low milk supply, and apparently when you stop breastfeeding and you stop producing milk, your hormones drop, and I didn't know that. And that could have been a contributing factor to my postpartum anxiety. Yeah. But the women who deal with postpartum anxiety, and especially the women who have thoughts of self-harm and negative thoughts towards their baby, my heart just completely breaks for them, because if I knew about it, I would have prepared for it a little bit differently. And, but once I kind of got out of, I was like postpartum for a long time. Then I kind of get out of that, and like just a few months after I'm out of that, I find out that I have breast cancer. So like, I was like, just when I felt like I can use my platform to talk about something that I think a lot of women go through.
And you just now are getting air.
Yeah, I just thought I was, and then also, you know, your whole body changing and finally getting back to where I felt more comfortable in my body, and then
you get hit with that.
I get hit with that, and then my body's gonna change again.
You found out, because this is the thing that scares me, is everybody always talks about early detection, right? So I'm like on top of it, like getting stuff done. I want to catch it. Yeah. It's one of those things that scares me though, is hearing your story. You actually, you were that person. Yeah. They did not catch it, and you just randomly had someone.
My doctor did.
Yeah, like but that.
So I had my first mammogram around a year before that. That was clear. And then a year later, I do my yearly mammogram now. So I do the mammogram, that's clear. I also had gotten an ultrasound the year prior as well, just to be really proactive. But mammograms pick up, I think it's 80% of breast cancers, but there are 20%, like myself, that
did not get picked up.
Yeah, so I was in my yearly with my doctor for my pap smear, and she says, you know, I told her, I said, oh, I got my genetic testing back and I'm negative for BRCA, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, let me just do this lifetime risk assessment test for you. It's called the Tyrer-Cuzick test. And my risk assessment score came back as 37.3% of having a chance of having breast cancer. So she said, okay, I want you to go get an MRI, because anything over 20% is high risk. So I was like very high risk.
Wow. Okay.
So I went to get the MRI, and they called me an hour later and they said, we found something. And so you need to go get an ultrasound. So I go get the ultrasound, and the technician's taking a while as she's looking through my breast. And I said, you know, like, what's going on? Is everything okay? She said, well, I have to get the doctor. Whenever they say that, that's never.
Oh, man.
So then the doctor comes in, and she's looking, and she just says, okay, I see the one from the MRI, which is like right next to my lymph nodes, which is very scary. But she said, but now I'm finding 2 more.
Oh my God, and you've just climbed out of like...
I just climbed a mountain and swam through an ocean of anxiety from postpartum, and then there's this information. So I get the biopsy the next day, and find out 3 days later that it is cancer, and it's an aggressive cancer called Luminal B, and so it's fast-moving and aggressive. And my doctor brought me into her office, and she walks in. I said, you know, is it cancer? She said, yes, and I wanted you to come in and see me in the office, because I wanted to look you in the eye and tell you that you're too young to have this much cancer in your breasts, and you have a baby at home, and I need you to be aggressive, because one is right by your lymph nodes, and we need to move fast. So she told me that I think you should get a double mastectomy. Yeah. Yeah, it was big. And I was like, just taking it all in. And she said, because I guarantee that if you have this much all over your breast, that you have it in the left side too. So she sends me off with this list of doctors, surgeons, oncologists to kind of form my team. And once I get my team together, my surgical oncologist at Cedars said, it is unusual for you to have so much breast cancer in one breast in different areas. I want to go back to your original MRI and have our top radiologist here check that out as well, just to look at everything. Mm-hmm. And they went back and they said, we think we found something on your left breast as well. They take the biopsy, and then they call me like a week or so later, and they're like, that's also cancer. So at that point, it was, you know, you have to do a double mastectomy, because if I do just a lumpectomy, which a lot of women do, and it's a personal choice, but my lifetime risk of breast cancer would stay at 37.3% because I still have breast tissue. And if it's popping up this much, there's a good chance it's going to pop up somewhere else. And I didn't want to have to keep looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life.
I know another woman who did exactly this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I was super aggressive. I mean, I have breast tissues taken up, you know, all the way up to my collarbone and everywhere. And I'm so thankful I did the double mastectomy, because after the surgery, they do this thing called margins. They check for margins. Margins, like when you have cancer, they keep checking to see how far out it went, so they give you a good amount of margins of like clear tissue, right? So then the doctors go, okay, we got it. And as they were checking for margins, they kept going, and they found like a tangerine-sized section of more cancer. It was like an early stage of cancer, but that was going, because it was the same type, it was going to spread and become invasive like the other ones. So if I didn't do the double mastectomy, I would have...
She literally saved your life.
She literally saved my life. She was my guardian angel.
And you say that there's a lesson that you kind of learned through all of this, right?
I think that being a parent is your best chance for self-growth. And the second best thing is going through a situation like this where you're facing like life-changing decisions and also the possibility of death. You know, I'm somebody in my life that I've been harder on myself. I haven't been able to forgive myself for sometimes even the smallest infraction. I would hold on to disappointments, just a lot of emotional baggage. And as soon as this diagnosis came into my life, I just dropped all of it. I dropped jealousy and anger and resentment and regret and self-disappointment. All of it just went to the side because...
Let it go. You need that fuel, any fuel you have.
I couldn't climb a mountain carrying all this extra weight. And when I got to the end of it, I didn't want to pick it back up again, because I didn't realize that I've been going through my life, never experiencing my life. I was just worrying or being upset about the past.
Or planning.
And planning for the future. And so every day I was never there. I wasn't, every single day, I don't think that I really allowed myself to just live in the moment. And that I only realized that once I dropped it all.
That's a huge thing.
It's been the biggest gift. It's been the biggest gift, because now I'm just so grateful that I get to be here, and I'm so grateful that I was given the opportunity to fight this thing. Because I know a lot of people are in my position who don't get that chance and don't make it through. And so the fact that I'm here, I'm just so happy, and everything is really funny to me lately. I'm just happy and...
Well, because you've probably never experienced, like you said, presence, like true presence, like being and staying in the moment.
I had no idea how healing it would be to come out with my story and to see how many women have gotten this test and how many women's lives this could save. It was incredibly healing, so I do look at them a bit different now, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo, you got me, okay. Well, this is random, but we are speaking of health. And we both grew up, Texas, Oklahoma. We grew up on soda.
Yeah.
But you actually invested in a drink that helps you drink less soda, but kind of gives you that fix?
Well, it's soda, but it's not, it's only 5 grams of sugar. Is that it? Oh, that's Poppi.
Poppi.
Poppi, okay.
Oh, it's got a sexy name.
Guys, Poppi
is
so dumb.
Yeah.
Hey, Poppi.
Hey, Poppi.
So I invested in a lot of companies, and I wasn't even thinking about investing in Poppi, and I was at a friend's house, and I wanted a soda.
Yeah.
And so I opened one, thinking it was just an orange soda, and I was like, oh, this soda is really good. She's like, well, it's actually Poppi. And I was like, what's Poppi? And she told me it's like 5 grams of sugar. It's like 25 calories.
Yeah.
Because I drank soda every day. So I was like, this thing's amazing. And I found out who the owners were, the founders were. They're from Texas, Austin.
Oh.
Yeah, Allison and Steven. And
of course they're Texas.
Yeah, of course. And I begged them to let me invest in this, because like, you guys, you have no idea how much I love soda. And like this tastes like, the orange tastes just like orange soda. The grape, which I have a bunch coming here, tastes, it's my new favorite, tastes just like grape soda. You guys, it is so good. Okay. So they let me invest really early on, and now it's like this huge social media phenomenon. It's like it's on TikTok. Everyone is like in love with Poppi. We did a pop-up in LA recently, and I went there and I was blown away. There was a line of like kids down the corner, around the block, across the street.
For some Poppi.
For some Poppi.
I just want to say Poppi.
Yeah, so I invest in that because I love soda.
Yeah, ditto.